Hello, and welcome for how to pass source Filmmaker models to XNALara. The programs we need for this tutorial is Crowbar, a model from SFM or Gary's Mod, Fitted, Blender, and XNALara. In the Google search bar we will type Steam Workshop, and we will click on the first link. Now in the Steam Workshop search bar we will type source Filmmaker. In the search bar of Source Filmmaker we will look for the model that we are going to pass to XNALara. In my case I am going to use Heidi from Fortnite. When we have the model we want searched in the workshop, we will copy the URL. With the URL of the copied model we will search for Steam Workshop Downloader. You can use either the first or the second link. When we have Steam Workshop Downloader, paste the URL in the search bar and click on Download. Now I am going to save the Heidi model on my PC. In my case I am going to create a folder on my desktop with the name of the model. It is something I use to know where the models that I have downloaded are. To finish we will open the RAR file and we will drag its files to our folder where we have our model. After downloading the model and putting it in a folder, we will use Crowbar. Now in Crowbar we will look for Decompile. When we are already in Decompile where it says MDL input we will have to look for the folder where this the MDL file of the model. And in output file it will be where the SMD file is saved that we will use later. As it can be something complicated just follow what I do. Now the Blender part. In my case I used version 2.79. We will need the Blender Source Tools add-on. If you don't know how to install it, it's very easy to do. We are going to import the model. Remember that you must import the QC file, and not the SMD. After opening the QC file in Blender we will scale the model. Remember that in XNALara the models are not so big. One thing I recommend you to do is to scale the model to your liking. I recommend to save the model in mesh format. The name can be whatever you want. After saving the model to be able to use it in XNALara we need the textures. For this we will use Fitted. Go to Tools and click on Convert Folder. Remember that Input folder is where the textures of the model are, and Output folder is where you want them to be saved. Remember to save the images in PNG as I have it. The last step of this tutorial, XNALara. In XNALara we are going to look for Modify, Load Generic Item, and here we are going to look for the mesh file that we have saved before. Now we must hide the model so that it can be seen on top of the ground. We have already adjusted the height. Now we must put the textures. For them we go to Modify, Material Editor, and select one by one the meshes. In my case, the render group that I am going to use is the 41. Remember that the diffuse map is the main texture. The bump map is the normal map. In this case we don't need specular. It is created by XNALara itself. Remember to put all the textures well. If you have problems because you don't know where each one goes, don't worry. You have time to look at it. And voila! We have our first finished model. Now we will save it and modify. Save generic item. Remember to select the option Modify Armature to the current pose. And to finish we will create a folder where our model will go. Thank you very much for watching my first tutorial. Remember that if you have any questions you can ask them in the comments. See you in the next tutorial.